But it's incredibly important that the Phoenix Suns don't mess this up. He's right there in Arizona. He's right down the road. You need a box office attraction who can flat out ball, who's a big boy, the size, the athleticism, and the combination of all of those things with his gifts that you simply can't teach. I don't give a damn about how this kid in Europe looks. I understand he's a 6'8" point guard. He's surreal. He'll probably be the number 2 overall pick.
I think the whole point of tanking a season is to get a chance to get like this generational franchise guy. He falls to 3 because the Kings are idiots. He falls to 3. He's right there. And then they trade backwards and we got this extra Dallas pick.
Fulton Tatum is going to be.
It's like, we got Trae Young and we have their pick next year. It's like, great. The Mavs are going to be good this year because they have Luka Doncic.
I understand that there's some risk with teams don't know how I'm feeling, but I believe I'm the best player in the draft, yes.
Make your pitch to LeBron James to stay in Cleveland with you.
Man, LeBron, let's do it. Let's do it. I see you need a few pieces, that one extra piece this past season. Hey, let's do it. Let's go back to the finals. Let's do it.
Boy, if you don't... All right, man. The 2018 draft was probably one of the most fascinating yet talented drafts of the past decade. We went from the 2017 draft, where a father said his son was better than Stephen Curry, to this draft actually having, quote unquote, the next Stephen Curry. Trae Young was the most intriguing player in this draft for multiple reasons. In Oklahoma, this man was putting up NBA-style numbers in college, which isn't normal. 20 assist games, multiple 40-point games, double-double, shooting from 30 feet. Like, he was literally a mini Stephen Curry there. For this reason, the Atlanta Hawks got the number 3 overall pick and surprised everyone, choosing Trae Young over Luka Doncic. Now, I'm not saying Trae Young was a bad pick or a bad player, because obviously he's not. But Luka Doncic was either the best player or the second best player by most scouts entering this draft, and you had a chance to get him. Trae Young, even though I like him, his ceiling is pretty much what we expected. A high volume scorer who can pass and shoot deep, but it's going to take a few misses and a few defensive headaches to pretty much reap those Steph Curry-like benefits. Also, unlike Luka, I'm not sure if Trae Young can really be the best player on a championship team. I think it would take a lot of GM work to build that team and that structure around him so he can actually win a championship. Meanwhile, imagine Luka Doncic in the East. Like, you would have been dominant, and I mean really dominant, for years. Ultimately, both teams got what they wanted, but trading the best player in the draft, that's never a good thing. DeAndre Ayton only gets a pass from me because it just felt like Phoenix, they had to draft DeAndre Ayton. Kind of the exact same thing the Lakers went through with Lonzo Ball. DeAndre Ayton went to high school in Arizona. DeAndre Ayton went to the University of Arizona. How the hell can the Phoenix Suns, based in Arizona, not draft the most dominant kid out of Arizona? They just had to. DeAndre Ayton's biggest deficiency coming out of college was his defense. In fact, Joel Embiid, a well-rounded player, he even got offended by the comparison because he said, bro, I play defense, that dude don't. 3 years later, DeAndre Ayton has actually improved defensively, and I feel like being an athletic big like he is and having a 7'6" wingspan, he probably has another level he can take it to. Offensively, he's solid, but he's not what some people thought he was going to be, bro. Like, he's just not. Coming out of college, this man was compared to Shaq by some people, which is obviously not the case. And some people thought he can translate into a stretch big, which hasn't quite happened yet. Nevertheless, I grade this pick as solid, and I'm not mad that he got drafted over Luka Doncic because, like I said, they had to, and he's only 22 years old, so who knows? Mo Bamba coming out of this draft was definitely the biggest project, and to me, the biggest risk. Back in the 90s and the early 2000s, bigs ran the NBA, so if one fell to you, you literally had to draft them because the game was played so damn inside out. Nowadays, the position requires so much damn skill offensively and defensively. Being able to switch on guards and hold your ground, offensively being able to stretch the floor, you have to make sure you have the right one. Mo Bamba coming out of Texas, some people thought he can actually be an absolute gem, and he got a lot of love for it. You can hear the damn song playing in the background. He got a whole song for him. Scouts, I mean, they fell in love with his fluidity moving up and down the court, his size, his length, automatically making him a mismatch, and most importantly, his shot blocking. He averaged 4 blocks a game in college like he was a hound. Orlando, they went all in on a position they really didn't even need, and they drafted Mo Bamba with the number 6 pick. Now, I kind of understand the pick, and I'm going to explain why in a few seconds, but looking back at it now, 3 years later, it looks terrible. It made some sense because Nikola Vucevic, he was on the last year of an expiring contract, so you wanted to lock up some security with that big spot if he left. But ultimately, Mo Bamba really didn't get that many opportunities. Nikola balled out. Nikola signed an extension that following summer. And 2 years later, you traded up Vooch for the player that got drafted 1 pick behind Mo Bamba, Wendell Carter Jr. I mean, it's just a mess. Remember how I told you that Phoenix, they damn near had to pick DeAndre Ayton because he was the hometown kid and he fell right into your lap and you don't want to miss out on that? Here's a prime example of this. The Philadelphia 76ers in the 2018 draft. In my opinion, they really needed spacing. Joel Embiid and Ben Simmons, they were great individually, but they were still kind of clunky. So if you could find preferably that 3-and-D guy to help you sustain that high level of defense while stretching the floor on offense, you had your guy. Ironically enough, they happened to draft that guy, the best guy doing that specific job I just named in that draft, Mikal Bridges. The player that ESPN.com before the draft, they claimed him as the best 3-and-D guy in that draft, and right now he is. Also the man that was born 40 minutes away from Philly. Also the man that went to high school 40 minutes away from Philly. Also the man that went to college in Philly, Villanova. They had their guy and the hometown kid.
Playing basketball your whole life here in Philly, what would it mean for you to play for this organization possibly?
I mean, it means a lot, just growing up in this area, always going to games when I was younger, my mom, my dad, my grandparents always take me to games, but I mean, it's really cool, and seeing what they've been doing and how well the coach they are and how hard they play, how talented they are, it'd be a perfect fit.
But a few minutes later, I guess trying to outthink the room, they traded him away for Zaire Smith, a 6'3" guard who's not even in the league anymore, while they already had Markelle Fultz, a 6'4" number 1 overall pick the year prior, on their team. I just didn't get that. Marvin Bagley, I don't want to spend too much time on him. Obviously, it was a mistake drafting him over Luka Doncic, but coming out of college, coming out of Duke, he seemed like a can't-miss pick. 3 years later, as most players do that go there, he seemed to lose desire playing in Sacramento, and he hasn't really shown much improvement. Also, ironically enough, he's the 2nd consecutive number 2 overall pick with a loud, bold statement making ass dad. Like, that's kind of weird too. Colin Sexton, he also had a little bit of irony to me. He got drafted to Cleveland. He wears the exact same number as Kyrie Irving, and 3 years later, he has the exact same tag Kyrie has as that ball hog player that really can't win. Like, that's kind of weird too. Michael Porter Jr. entering this draft, he was always the player that had the most potential in the NBA. I mean, being a 6'10" forward who looked like he can play 4 positions and do multiple things at his size, what team wouldn't want that? His college career ultimately got extremely shortened at Missouri, having a back surgery, and for that reason, scouts, NBA teams, they were very skeptical about drafting MPJ. Now, even with that being said, most mock drafts had this man as a top 10 pick at least, just off of raw potential alone. Think about it like this. Who literally just won the Rookie of the Year 1 month prior to the draft? Ben Simmons, a 6'10" positionless player with a very unique skill set. Now, in this draft, you have another 6'10" positionless player who's even better than Ben Simmons, at least offensively. How can that not be a top 10 pick? They let this man fall all the way down to 14th with Denver. I thought at least the Knicks were going to take him. They ended up choosing Kevin Knox. Look at him now with Kevin Knox. They let this man fall to 14th. Just for context, that would be like Kevin Durant going to Texas, getting injured, and falling all the way down to 14th. That's how good MPJ was in high school. Now, 3 years later, this man is averaging 18 points on unreal splits, and to be honest, if he didn't play in an offense that was so Nikola Jokic friendly and ran by him, I think this man will be averaging Jason Tatum-like numbers on crazy splits like he's shooting right now, because that's where his potential is. MPJ, and I thought this at the draft, I thought he was going to be the best player. I don't know now, but he's definitely, to me, going to be the second best player in this draft. That's just my opinion. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Check out some of the second round talent this draft actually had too. It's kind of crazy. Second rounders are typically D-leaguers and all that, man. Like this, they actually produce some talent. If you guys like this video, like the video, follow my social media sites, turn on notifications, do all that great stuff, guys. And until next time, as always, stay tuned.